ladies and gentlemen.
Giggity. All right.
Seems quiet. Too quiet.
I'm Batman. Gotham is never safe without me.
What time is it? It's 7 o'clock. Okay, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
You can attach towers? Shut up. Impromptu performance this evening, which I must say was indeed a welcome distraction. Thank you, Mr. Holmes. You're very kind.
This is going to be funny.
That's so loud. Why are you so loud? Holy cow. That was nuts. Okay. I think I got it. Whew. Hello, everybody. Good evening. I hope we're well. I will never understand. But then again, I would never break your heart, ma'am. Never. The heart is a fragile, fickle thing. It's like a rose with thorns as petals waiting to strike. I would hope not. Absolutely. Mel, good evening. Yori, hello to you too. What is happening? Guys, I want to share with you a link that I'm going to pin this. Did it pin? I can't even tell. There we go. Now it's pinned. I did some voice work a while ago, and it was essentially... Let me just get this going. Just need to keep an eye on the ads thing. Okay. Did some voice work. It's kind of a story-driven documentary, if you will. But basically, I got hired to voice or be the voice of these videos that are going to explain this guy's Minecraft server and the historical events that have unfolded within. And so the first episode is finally out. And it's going to be great. I've already watched it. Loved it.
Oh, what does this button do?
Well, now you know. Hello, Red Thorn, and hi, Kay. It's great to see you. I don't know if anyone's getting ads right now, but I forgot to play them prior to stream, and so they're playing now. If you don't have ads, then congratulations. If you do have ads, you can't hear me. So there's that. Let me try that again. Hi, y'all. How y'all doing? It's wonderful to see you guys. So as you can see, there's new stuff behind me for those of you that didn't get the sneak preview. I have built a little addition onto my closet recording studio place. Space, whatever. So there's like a foot or so behind me, and then I've got one of those magnetic curtains that will drop down. So now when I do voice work in the future, like tomorrow night, for example, I've got a live recording session that I need to attend. I'll be able to enclose myself and be 100% soundproofed. It's going to be awesome. I cut all the wood up yesterday and then did the assembly today and then added the insulation the soundproofing, and it has some sound dampening on this side, which is towards the door, like the entrance to the room itself. I didn't need to put any on this side because it's just a wall that is surrounded by dirt because it's the basement. So that's, I'm really excited. And then you can't see this yet unless I turn the camera on. Then you can. Where'd that go? Room cam. So now you can see, well, you can almost see this one over here, but I've got 3 monitors now instead of the 2 ultra wides that were stacked. And so on Thursday, when we do American Truck, I'll be able to use all 3 screens. So that's going to be fun. How snazzy, I know. And hi, Novakins and Snuggle Reader. Didn't I just see you in Night Marcher stream? Pretty sure I did. Like you were lurking at the time, I think. Good to see you. Welcome. Okay. I've got my usual hot cup of tea. Snuggle is my identical twin sister. She's a massive bookworm, so I had to bring her to your channel. Triplets? You said one of them. Or do you have... I'm confused. Which doesn't take much, but... Identical triplets. That's insane. You don't see that very often. That's cool. Well, thank you for bringing one of the 3 to see me. That's really nice of you. Welcome, triplet. Who was out first, though? Right? Of the 3, who came first? What's the order? Because I believe in the twin relationship or the triplet relationship that for some reason that really matters. I'm the middle, Snuggle is the youngest, and our other sister, Sasha, is the eldest. Oh, Nova, you're the middle child. You're the middle child. Don't worry. We will take care of you. Being the youngest, Snuggle, you've just got, everything laid out for you. It's great. And I mean, we're talking like seconds or minutes here, but every one of those seconds counts in a twin or triplet scenario. Anyway, I digress. It is wonderful to see you. I can't wait to keep going with our story. Snuggle also speaks very different to me. She speaks very proper, like our mother used to. Well, indeed. I mean, one must certainly speak proper language, Phrases, sentences, using commas in the correct spot. Yes. Yes, quite indubitably. It's a matter of national security, I think. Yes. Anywho, I have an addition to stream. So you guys know that we have the whole puzzle thing that you can see in the corner. In fact, this is what your puzzle looks like, by the way. Very cool. I like it. But I've added a new element that I'm going to try and do. It won't be like consistent back to back to back, but I'm thinking like if I have a break in the story or if we get to the end of the chapter and then I throw it in there, and I'll show you what it is here in a moment. I have a preference to communicate with proper etiquette, while my dear sister prefers to communicate with like a baffling baboon. Wow. I do believe them there are fighting words. Well, I'll let you guys duke it out. She calls me out a lot. Yeah. I am also a sibling, not a twin, though. Aw, thank you, Snuggle. I appreciate you. Thank you for the follow. Let me move over to the reading scene. So that way, we can get into the story. But also, so I can show you the new thing. When I say a lot, you'd never guess how many? Oh, God. Let's see, your triplets. $14. No. Is it higher or lower? God, please don't say higher. $18. K says 18. Oh. There are 20 of us total, 11 boys, 9 girls, 4 generations of twins in our family. Holy cow. That's a lot of, that's a family gatherings must be just insane. Imagine trying to schedule that. Here is the new thing I'm adding to stream. I downloaded Marbles on stream. And so I thought, okay, before we get into a chapter, I will start a race. You can join it. When I get to breaks, we can start a new race, so on and so forth. You get the idea. Whenever we do have family gatherings, are often over 50. Wow. Jeez. That's a big potluck. That's a big potluck. Mama House Gaming, hi. Be right back, no worries. All right, so since this is the first time we're doing this, here's how I'm thinking. We're gonna do a 8-map Grand Prix. I have no idea if that's enough or too much. We'll see. Just kind of starting out. Why can't I hit play? Am I already broken it? Have I already broken it? Autofill. Oh, I have to select the maps first. That would make sense. In our siblings alone, there are 1 set of twins, us triplet, 2 sets of quads. My sister has triplets, twin girls herself. Plus, we got 24 nieces and nephews, 3 more due this year, and 1 great nephew and 1 great niece, then 1 more due as well. That's a mouthful. Mama House Gaming, hi. We're just about to get started, but I'm letting everybody know about the new addition to stream. Marbles on stream. Woo. So we'll still have the puzzle up there. And yes, I've been listening. Okay, cool. So I don't have to repeat myself. Fantastic. All right. So we've got the 8 maps that I had it pick for me. Let's go ahead and get the first one rolling. I do believe it's a 90-second counter from when I hit play. You hate repetition? I understand. I did turn off the sound and the music because, well, I'll be reading. Let me just make sure it works. All right, I'm in, so it works. All right, what do I do? Countdown, supposed to be 90 seconds. And start. All right, so you've got a minute and a half to get in. Yes, exclamation point play. And while that's happening, let's crack open the book. Chapter 26 tonight, folks. Exclamation point moon, if you wish to learn more about this book, more about our author. I do upload these videos to YouTube, so if you're ever needing a moment to catch up or re-listen because you wanted to double check on what the heck, feel free to go to the YouTube link down below in the About section. All right. Chapter 26, page 201. Sit back, relax, and I will read you a story. A soft whimper drifted in and out of her dreams. Unable to fully wake up, Bree tried to ignore it until it started again. And something warm, wet, and a little rough touched her hand. Bree screamed and sat straight up. She heard the scamper of little feet. She glanced around and saw the little cocker spaniel cowering in the corner of her cloth bed. Oops. Wait, I forgot to... I don't know how to do this. How do you... I don't understand. How do you make it follow? I have no idea what to do. Hi, Gemma. I'm going to have to learn the rules of how to make it follow, like the leading ball or whatever. Anyway, we'll figure it out. But good luck, everybody. Yeah, but I want it to auto-follow. That's the whole point. I want it to do it by itself. I know it can. Like, do I just... hit number 1? Oh, I just choose a player. Okay, well, we'll just choose a player. That's fine. Anywho, we've only been into a paragraph here. Oh, Zyla. She swung her legs off the mattress and went over to her. I'm sorry, sweetheart, she said, scooping her up. You scared me. I'm not used to having a puppy. The morning sun shone through the curtains, making the room glow soft. I'm guessing you need to go out. Bree carried her down the stairs and went straight for the back door. She had heard that if you went to a particular spot whenever training a puppy, they would always go there when they needed to do their business. Let's give it a try, girl. Bree picked a spot away from the patio, set her down, and waited. Ooh, rigged. I won. It didn't take long, and Zyla scampered back toward her. Bree bent down and lavished the puppy with praise. I'll need to get you some treats to reward you when you've done such a good job, like just now. She scratched her behind the ears, and Zyla rolled over and wanted her belly rubbed. You're too cute. Let's go in and get some breakfast. Then we can go to the store and get you everything you need. Bree put puppy food in one bowl and fresh water in another. Zyla pounced on it, hungry. Bree started coffee and sat down to write her list. Since Zyla was busy, she went to the pantry and got a large box. She needed something for the puppy to stay in while she was busy taking a shower and getting dressed. Somehow, Bree managed to shower, throw on some clothes, and pull her damp hair into a ponytail while corralling the puppy in the box. Zyla had managed to crawl out twice, tipping the box over. The puppy got into her clothes, pulled the towels off the bar, and chewed a pair of socks. Already exhausted, Bree grabbed the escaping puppy, the box, the socks, and her purse, and headed out the door. Pulling into the strip mall parking lot, she parked in front of the pet store. Bree wasn't sure if she should be cursing Riker or thanking him. Probably cursing. Puppies are so much work. Oh, I'm DNF? Oh, you did not finish. Ouch. That's a bummer. She buzzed through the store with Zyla in her arms and, with the aid of a clerk, selected the things on her list. She glanced down as her phone chimed and was surprised to see it was a text from her aunt. "Your things are packed and coming on the moving truck. Should arrive tonight." Bree said, "So soon?" Aunt Maureen said, "Yes, I did some spring cleaning this week and got it done. I meant to text sooner." Bree replied, "Wow, thanks. What time?" "Around 7 p.m. You are welcome. Sending our love." Bree stood there for a moment and contemplated the message. That meant her furniture was to arrive tonight. She didn't have anyone lined up to help her unload. She hadn't been expecting it for a couple of weeks. Panicked, Bree threw a couple more things in the cart, thanked the clerk, and headed for the checkout. With a million things running through her mind, she paid the cashier and headed out to the SUV with Zyla and her purchases. She was loading everything in the back when Zyla started to squirm. "Oh, Zyla, sorry. You probably have to go. Hold on." She dug through the bag and found her new collar and leash. Slipping them on Zyla, she walked over to the grass. Bree looked over as she heard her name called and saw Colette approaching her. "Hey, girl. I was going to call you later. And here you are with a puppy, no less." Colette hugged Bree and squatted down to pet the little cocker spaniel. "Isn't she the cutest?" "Huh, she is, isn't she? When did you get her?" Yesterday. Riker gave her to me." Colette wiggled her eyebrows. "I guess someone has a crush." Looks like tracks are not set to autoplay either. I don't even know how to do that. There you go. I wouldn't say that. Oh, really? You don't see him giving me a puppy, do you? Well, no. But you don't have a stalker either. Yeah, about that. Colette placed a hand on Bree's arm. "I'm so sorry that's happening to you. Please don't be afraid to ask if you need something or some place to stay until this is over." "I'm fine. I appreciate the offer, though. He's not going to chase me out of my home." Colette nodded in understanding. "Just don't be naive about the situation either." Switching gears, Colette turned the subject back to the puppy. "What's her name?" "Zyla." "Was that Riker's suggestion?" "Yes, how did you know?" Bree scooped up the puppy. "Those guys are always naming stuff after their favorite movie." Bree looked at Colette, not sure what she meant. "You know," Colette said, "Princess Zyla from the Black Shadow?" Did it work? Okay, good. That comment triggered something in Bree. Who? Riker and Sam? Yeah, they both love it. It's their all-time favorite. They've seen the movie dozens of times. That's not the first thing they've named after the Black Shadow. And I'm not sure the last, or I'm sure not the last. After all, Riker's boat is Shadow. Colette shook her head when Bree didn't respond. Shadow Jumper? Surely you've heard of Theo Knight, the character that piloted Shadow Jumper. Yes, I have. Dry? Oh man, what good news. My wife just got out of the ICU. She's home. She's doing better. Oh, that's fantastic, Dry. That is amazing. I'm so glad. I really hope everything goes smoothly now that she's back home. Absolutely. Hello, Stunt Mama. Sorry to interrupt. Not at all. That's great news. Apprehension coursed through Bree, making her want to ask more, but she didn't have the time or the courage. Asking more would only incriminate Riker, maybe even link him to Cage. She didn't want it to be true. The thought made her nauseous. Zyla started to squirm. I don't mean to be rude, Colette, but I really gotta run. Okay, but I was seeing if you wanted to do something tonight. I would love to, but I can't. I just found out my furniture is arriving around 7, and I don't have anyone lined up to unload it. Don't they have movers coming with the truck? You would think so, but we didn't do that. We only hired a guy to deliver. My relatives loaded it all on the truck on their end, and I said I would line up movers here. Cheaper that way. That's my aunt. Pinch every penny. Bree shrugged. Anyway, my aunt sent the truck early, much earlier than I expected, and I don't have anyone lined up to unload. I have no idea who will be available at such short notice or where even to start looking. The puzzle link is the old one. Dang it! Hold on. Of course it's the old one. Anything else I can do wrong today? Probably. Where? You know, I even looked at the puzzle link and then I did what you would do and I squirreled. Okay, it's not the most concise puzzle link, but it's still a link, so knock yourself out. Should be up and running now. It's still early, so we'll see. Thanks so much. Appreciate that. Hey, Red Thorn one. Good job. I got to figure out how to do this stuff automatically, because this is what I didn't want to do. Alrighty. 3 laps for this one. Enjoy. Exclamation point play. How much stuff is it? Dining table, a couple of bedroom sets, the rest of my clothes, books, dishes, additional camera equipment, and Lord only knows what else my aunt put in. Doesn't sound that bad. If you buy some beer and wine, order pizza, I'll supply the workers. Seriously? Yep. We will move some furniture, drink, eat, and be merry. It'll be fun. Bree gave her another hug. You're a lifesaver. Thank you. That's what friends are for. I'll see you tonight. And sure enough, there's a break in the story. because I imagine we're pushing through to tonight. Oh God, I almost spilled my tea. Oh, that scared the crap out of me. Stunt Mama, it is a community puzzle, not a competition. I know you don't understand those words, but do your best. Okay, after the break in the story, we have the following. Bree opened the door to find Colette, Sam, and Riker. She should have known Riker would be asked to help. After all, he and Sam were best friends, and Colette was definitely interested in Sam. But still, she was surprised that Riker had come, considering how they left things last night. Sherry and Greg arriving right behind them. "Hey," Sherry said, hopping out of the car. She gave Bree a quick hug. "Maybe for you. Stunt can't bring it. She's lost her marbles." Oop, I forgot to follow somebody. Good luck. Carol wanted to come and help because she was dying to see the place, but she couldn't. She had a family thing. Bree turned to Greg. "Thanks for coming, Greg." "Glad to help," he said, smiling broadly. "Anything for a friend. When does the truck arrive?" "Should be here any minute. Wanna get yourselves a drink while we wait?" They followed her into the kitchen. Nothing like starting unpacking, with alcohol in your system. That's the best way to do it. "Would anyone like a beer or a glass of wine? I also have soda and water." "I think the drinks are gonna have to wait. Looks like the truck is here," Sam said, jerking his thumb toward the door. From that moment on, it was a flurry of activity. The driver helped unload, but the guys did the heavy lifting. Bree gave directions, and the girls toted smaller boxes, clothing, garden tools, dishes, and camera equipment. It only took a couple hours to unload. Bree paid the driver, and he was on his way. They were assembling the king-size four-poster bed in Bree's room when she slipped out and ordered pizza. Colette found her in the kitchen, setting out plates and napkins. She picked up a box of dishes. "Do you want me to put some of these in the cabinets?" "Oh, no, thanks. They're going to tear out the cabinets on Monday. There's no point putting dishes away. You can set them over there in the corner." The doorbell rang. Must be the pizza. I'll be right back." She yelled up the stairs, "Pizza's here." She paid the delivery guy, carried the hot pizzas into the kitchen, and set them on the island. They all came down from upstairs. "If you want to fix a plate, you can sit outside on the patio. It's beautiful out tonight." "Is there a place to sit out there?" Sam asked. "Last time I checked, there wasn't." "Well, won't you be surprised? I actually bought patio furniture. It was delivered yesterday after you left." "Good for you," Sam said. "Actual furniture, inside and out. You're finally moving up in the world, champ," Riker said sarcastically, picking up a plate. This was the first time he had said anything to her since he had arrived. Even though he had worked hard and taken direction, he let Sam or Greg ask questions. He had simply picked up the other end of a piece of furniture and assisted. He'd been standoffish when he arrived, but the camaraderie of working with everyone had taken the edge off his attitude. "You bet I am." She smiled at him, grateful for his help and glad he was here. "Surprised?" "You could say that. Thought maybe you were going to continue to live like a nomad indefinitely." "I'm here to stay, despite the fact that someone wants me gone." They were silent for a moment while everyone loaded their plates, got drinks, and went outside. When they were alone, Riker moved towards her, caught her in the corner. "For what it's worth, Bree, I'm glad you're here to stay." "Really?" she asked, a little suspicious. You, of all people, seem most likely to want me to leave. I heard through the grapevine you wanted to buy this house. Is that true? Looks like someone's in 5th place. Ooh, snap. Riker shifted his plate from one hand to the other, looking uncomfortable. That's true. I did. I'm not going to lie. I wanted this house pretty bad, and I was mad when I heard it had been bought out from under me. He smiled at her then, a deep, heart-wrenching smile that creased his whole face, turning his deep-set dimples into caverns. But I've gotten over it, or mostly. I think this house suits you. Plus, what I really wanted was to help restore it, work on it with my own hands, turn it from something that's falling apart to something that stands out and that people will envy as they pass by on their boats, craning their necks to see. I think your ideas, everything we've done here, and what you plan to do will achieve that. This place is going to be spectacular, something we can both be proud of. Bree's heart softened at that. Someone cleared their throat. I don't mean to interrupt. Oh, look, I won again. That's how delightful. Bree broke the connection with Riker and turned to find Greg standing there. You're not. What can I do for you? Greg looked from Bree to Riker and back. I was going to grab a beer. Is that okay? Riker slipped out as Bree went to the fridge. Certainly. She grabbed an ice-cold can and handed it to Greg. 90 seconds on the clock. Good luck. You coming? I saved you a seat. Yes, I'll be right there, Bree said, pulling out a soda for herself. She watched Greg go out of the slider. She leaned back on the counter for a minute to think. If Riker was into the Black Shadow, he could be sending the messages. He admitted wanting the house, but he sounded genuine when he said he was glad she had gotten it. She didn't like the idea that Riker was behind all this. Not one bit. But, and it was a big but, if he was, maybe now it would stop. I don't think so. Bree went outside. The only 2 spots left were next to Riker and Greg. Bree opted for the one next to Greg as she didn't trust herself regarding Riker. She was already being sucked into the entity of what was Mr. James, even though Detective Savard had warned her to be careful. She took a bite of pizza, let the tangy sauce sit on the tip of her tongue. I guess. My favorite thing. I'm gonna sit here. It's delicious. I felt awkward. Good luck. Let's watch somebody else. Hello, Purple. Welcome in. She watched Riker and wondered if she could trust him. She wanted to, seeing his blue eyes, dark hair, and the way his whole face creased into his smile. She sighed inwardly. She felt like she was standing at the top of a cliff, looking down into a deep, wide, magnificent valley.
Oh, I also need to add the clips. The shout-out clips. Hey! Oh!
Wow.
Look at that. I sneezed my headset right off. My bad.
Oh, that was funny. Wide, magnificent valley into an abyss. She could see the greens and golds, inviting lovely spaces and dark, enchanting, mysterious places. She wanted to glide and soar above it, slowly drift down into the sweet chasms and explore the depths. Are we talking about an actual cliff here? Or are we talking about something else? Just curious. Knowing full well that at the bottom it would be a little dangerous, only enticed her. All she had to do was take one step, and she would tumble head over heels into the abyss of Riker James. Riker watched Bree. He couldn't help it. He liked how the last rays of the sun made her honey brown hair shimmer like gold, the slenderness of her face, how the shadows played with the angles, and the slight pout to her lips. The intense blue of her eyes had him mesmerized. He felt a surge of jealousy course through him as Greg leaned over and whispered something in her ear, and she laughed. He wanted to throttle that guy. There was just something about him he didn't like. He tried to rationalize it to himself. The only reason, he told himself, that he didn't like Greg was because he had sold Bree the house and because he was cozying up to her now. Flirting. He tried to look away, but he couldn't. He was caught like a deer in the headlights, staring, watching.
Honk, noise, 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 honk.
Thank you, Gemma. It's so very kind of you. The honkening. Mad Locust, hello. Caught like a deer in headlights, staring, watching, waiting for the inevitable. Did she like Greg? Riker couldn't help but wonder. Then he remembered the kiss, the way she had felt, soft and warm, inviting. She had tasted like sweet, ripe cherries on a hot summer day. He was trying hard to follow the thread of conversation around him, but couldn't. He was so lost in Bree that he was having difficulty remembering his name until he heard it. Hello, Riker. Are you in there? Sherry asked, leaning in close and waving her hand in front of his face. Riker pulled his eyes off Bree and turned to face Sherry. You were 1,000,000 miles away just now. Everything okay? Riker glanced over at Bree, then back to Sherry. I'm fine. Just thinking about work. He finished lamely. How about I grab you another beer? No, I'm good. He glanced back at Bree and didn't like how Greg had his arm draped behind her. He stood. Bree, you want me to light that new fire pit of yours? It's getting a little chilly. Oh, that's a great idea. Let me help you. Bree stood and carried her plate into the kitchen. Riker followed. I have a newspaper and matches somewhere. Point me toward the newspaper while you dig for the matches. Over in the corner, she pointed. In that pile of mail. Riker sifted through the mail and pulled out the newspaper. Geez, don't you ever go through your mail? She shrugged, located the matches, and then turned to him. Not really. It's usually all junk mail. I pay all my bills online. Riker picked up a thick envelope and waved it at her. This looks important. Has Hefner attorney at law in the upper left corner. Oops. Really? She crossed to him. Let me see. He hid it behind his back. How bad do you want to see it? Bree put her hand on her hip and cocked her head. What are you, 3? Give me that. I feel like you ask me that a lot. Then don't act so immature. What's he being immature about? About now? Sam asked, carrying in plates. Caught, Riker handed the envelope to Bree. You know me. Give me the matches. Bree examined the official-looking envelope. The wood is stacked behind... I know where the wood is, Riker said, cutting her off as he disappeared outside. Everything all right? Sam asked. Yeah, I guess. Bree shrugged and put the envelope on the windowsill. Well, let's get that fire started. And that concludes chapter 26. So she's got her puppy, she's moved in. Her stuff, anyway, she's already moved in. Moved in her stuff. And all of a sudden, she's found out about this letter from a lawyer. I have a feeling it has something to do with her past that's like staring at her in someone's window. Gemma, you were like stuck to the course there for a moment. That was really weird. Wait, what did you catch? Oh, Carvana. Come on, Gemma. You can do it. Whoa. Oh, boy. Super! What's up, dude?
When I was a little lad, if I wanted berries and cream, Mummy made me do the little lad dance. Now Mummy's gone, but I still like to do the little lad dance. And you might too. You just run in place, nice form, clap your hands, elegant. Touch your left heel with your right hand, and your right heel with your left hand. Haha. Gesture to yourself. Berries and cream. When it all goes together, it looks a little something like this.
What? Wow. Oh boy. If only it wasn't so short. Yes. Ooh, this one's on the side of a mountain. From the mountain. Chapter 27 of our story this evening starts us out on page 211. I hope you're all doing swell. It's a pleasure to have you here, including Firebeef. It's a pleasure to have you too. In fact, it's like the perfect temperature outside right now. I was able to open the window to my office. And it's wonderful. It's like 59 degrees right now. It's just perfect. Love it. I said Red was going to have a lot of fun. That Redeem. Yes, you did. Yeah. In the 60s tomorrow. Yeah, I think we're supposed to hit 70. In fact, it's going to be amazing. And of course, tomorrow's the day I have to go back to work. So that's a thing. Anywho, chapter 27. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. ! Moon to find out more. Aw, Purple, thank you for gifting a sub. That was you didn't have to do that. Thank you so much. Where's my spinny wheelie thing? Here it is. That was super kind of you. Squats. Squat, 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 squat. Everybody. Now I owe 10. That was super kind of you. Purple. I'm going to shout you out again. Let's see what clip we get this time. Wow, this clip bot is just so slow. You brought a crossbow to a gunfight. It wasn't even a crossbow, it was a bow and arrow. You brought a bow and arrow to a gunfight. Oh, shoot. I forgot it was running. Let's follow Super. Nope, I guess we're on red. Where is Super? There we go. Super stuck. Well, it's all I had. Well, yeah. I mean, you do what you can with what you got, right? Chapter 27. It was late when she locked the door behind Riker, then turned and scooped up Zyla. Need to go out before we go to bed, sweetheart? The puppy nuzzled into her neck. Okay, let me get your leash. I don't want to lose you in the dark. There could be some tempting sounds and smells out there. I noticed that Mama gave up after losing to me so much. Wow. Maybe she's super focused on the puzzle. Green Arrow and Hawkeye also bring bow and arrow to all their gunfights. This is true. You make an excellent point. Mad Locust. Excellent point. Red's cheating? Yeah, probably. All the windows in the house were open, and a cool breeze blew off the bay, carrying a hint of smoke. Bree shivered and shrugged a little deeper into her hoodie. For a split second, she thought she heard a soft, eerie whistle flit by on the breeze. She scolded herself and tried to convince herself it was the wind blowing through the reeds as Zyla wiggled, needing to go out. She grabbed the leash and walked out the back. A scream ripped from her throat as she saw flames tear across the yard. Oh, shoot. Thinking quickly, she sprinted back to the house and closed Zyla inside. She pulled her phone out of her back pocket and dialed 911 as she scrambled for the garden hose. Zyla let out a stream of little yips as the flames reached higher and raced in crazy patterns across the yard. She yelled her information into the phone at the dispatcher and hung up. Turning on the hose, she dragged it across the lawn. She didn't think she could reach the fire, but she sure as hell would try to keep it from getting close to the house. She was spraying water as far as she could when Riker and Officer Kilpatrick came running up beside her. "What the hell happened?" Riker demanded, taking the hose from her. Never mind, there's no time. Where are the hoses the movers brought?" In the garage." "Get them." Kilpatrick grabbed her arm. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine. Help me get extra hoses." "Where did you both come from?" Bree asked as he ran beside her. I'm sorry, where are they connecting these extra hoses? Gemma, you won. Good job. Good job. Wow. Look at that. Next. I was patrolling in the area and decided to drive in and check on you. Did you call it in? Bree nodded. Fire trucks are on the way. She flipped on the lights in the garage. Thanks to her aunt, she had two more hoses. she prayed they'd be enough. There, she pointed. Kilpatrick slung a hose over one shoulder and ran. Bree followed suit, but she couldn't keep up. The hose was heavy and slippery. Out of breath, or actually, before I continue, what are we thinking here? Are we thinking that this fire was an actual... Let's start that again. Do you think this fire was an actual accident? Or do you think our mysterious stalker friend came in and, set it ablaze himself? Words are hard. They are. So true. The Stanley Hotel carpet. It's very nice. Stalker? Yeah, I'm thinking stalker too, but I don't know. Could be a curveball. Donna. Words are hard. I know. Isn't there a way to change your marble? Yes, but I don't have all of the fancy settings installed yet because I literally just set it up and said, let's go. Like, I haven't done anything with the settings, nothing. I don't even know how to automatically follow anybody. All you have to do is have the app on your phone. I didn't even know there was an app. I'll be quite honest with you. Anyway, we're in the middle of a firefight right now, okay? Or not a firefight, a fire. Firefights are a little bit different. Out of breath, she dropped it at Riker's feet and doubled over with a massive side stitch. The men were already connecting the second hose. They worked quickly, connecting the final hose and stretching them out as far... Oh, so they were just connecting hose to hose, not hose to faucet. They started the spray, running it back and forth across the grass, trying to outsmart the fire. My marble has wigs. Wings. Sirens rang out through the night, announcing the arrival of the fire trucks. And I'm going to take a sip, because obviously I can't talk. A low layer of smoke rolled across the yard and crept over the water as the last embers smoldered and sputtered out. Bree cleaned up the small puddle Zyla had made, no longer able to contain her tiny bladder, since she hadn't given the puppy a chance to go out after seeing the fire. She discarded the paper towels and washed her hands, unable to control her trembling. It could have been so much worse, she told herself. The fire had only scorched half the yard, but the little dock had all but disintegrated. If it had reached the reeds and brush, or if it had raced up the hill toward the house, she shuddered to think what could have happened. If Officer Kilpatrick hadn't turned into the driveway and stopped to talk to Riker, she would have been stuck further back with the one hose instead of 100 feet closer they had gotten by attaching the additional hoses. This backyard must be frickin' huge. She vowed she would go out and mow what was left of the lawn today. If the grass had been shorter, it might not have spread so quickly. Her dad would have given her a lecture if he were here right now. Thank goodness Aunt Maureen had enough foresight to send her father zero-turn lawnmower on the truck. Officer Kilpatrick entered the kitchen through the slider, followed closely by Riker. "How are you holding up?" he asked. "I'm fine." Riker leaned against the counter casually and looked disinterested, but Bree could feel him assessing her. "Chief said the fire's out. They're pulling up hoses now. Should be packed and out of here shortly." "I won," Kilpatrick said. Do they have any idea how it started? Kilpatrick shook his head no. But the chief said he will be around first thing as soon as it's light enough to investigate. I should go out and thank them. I'm going out. I'll let them know. Get some sleep. The morning will be here before you know it. He started down the hall. You need something? Let me know. Thank you, Riker said. Yes, thank you, Bree called after him. She turned to Riker, afraid to be alone. She tentatively asked, Are you leaving too? No, I'm staying. I'm too tired to drive home on my motorcycle, and I feel you don't want to be alone. I don't, but... But what? He moved a little closer to her. Thought maybe we could have a sleepover. What do you think? I think there's an ad that's about to start, so we're going to pause on that question and find out if they have a sleepover or not after the ads are done. Yes. Let's see. I set this for 8. Oh, this is 8 out of 8. Okay, so this is the last race of the Grand Prix because I only did 8. So we'll do a longer one after this. Puzzle pieces. Marbles. A story. What more could one ask for? And no, I'm not taking my shirt off. Jesse! I almost missed you redeem. You redeemed a book bonk. Good evening, Book Papa. Hope you've had a decent weekend. I have, actually. Let me just do this book bonk real quick. Thank you. Yes, I just lost my place. Here it is. I set up this addition to my space. Finished that up a few hours ago. Very excited about that. Works like a charm. There's nothing quite like an open book bunk, right? I felt the words just kind of push into my skull. And I forgot to follow somebody again. Jeepers. Meow. Looks like we've got about a minute 15-ish on the ads, and then we'll keep going. I think Stunt just died again. She sure did. Stunt, get better control of your balls. That's all I'm going to say. In fact, let's do a couple of shout-outs. Oh. Purple, get a grip. Blech. That was a fun one. Why are these clips taking so long to show up? Wait. Who did I just... Never mind. There we go. I was like, what did I do wrong? still taking a long time. Oh, I died too. My ball broken. Oh, that was great. That was fantastic. The bear scream is wonderful. It's a great Dixper.
But to walk the
Stunt.
whole house,
Get control
once
of
you
your
get
balls.
two,
You need better control.
because
You
saw
can't
the
just keep
flashlight.
bouncing your balls around and expect results. You'll never achieve proper ball handling by tossing them about. Get a grip. It's embarrassing.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Wait, who won? Nobody won. Okay. All right. The results of our very first streamed Grand Prix. Mama House Gaming in third, Gemma in first, and myself in first. Way to pick a death. I didn't pick it. All right. Let's, map 16. Yes, good. Autofill. Wonderful. How do I, like, make it automatically follow somebody? I don't need to worry about the graphics, audio, presets, defaults. Not a clue. View target? What the heck is view target? Autocam. I like autocam. I think. Autocam's what I want, right? Cody, fight at Redthorn. Wow. I think autocam is what I want. I guess we'll find out. 90 seconds on the clock. Good luck. All right. I just set up autocam. Let's see if it works. Wow. Redthorn. Jeepers. All right, getting back to the story, because we're way off track. Now that the ads are over. Thought maybe we could have a sleepover. What do you think? She lifted an eyebrow and considered him a moment. He had a smoldering intensity about him that made her body warm just by looking at him. Just where do you think you're going to sleep? He flashed a mischievous grin at her. I seem to remember unloading and carrying a very heavy king-size bed frame up those stairs, he said, pointing. It looked comfortable. I don't think so. And that's exactly where I thought you might go with this whole sleepover thing. She slumped against the counter, completely exhausted. If you insist on staying, there's a perfectly good mattress just down the hall. What? Don't you trust yourself to share that big old bed with me? He inched toward her. You wouldn't even know I was there. She held up her hand, stopping him. I trust myself. It's you I don't trust. Pretending to be wounded, he clutched his chest. Oh. She pushed off the counter, turned on her heel, and gently scooped up the sleepy puppy. If you're staying, come on then. I'm exhausted. Silently, he followed her upstairs and watched her delicately lay Zyla in her little cloth bed. She backed up slowly, trying not to wake the puppy, and bumped into him. She shifted back, all too aware of him. I'm sure my aunt put some sheets in the box marked guest bed. Let me put them on. She started to pass by him, but he caught her arm and gently pulled her into him. He slowly lifted his hand and brushed her hair back over her shoulder. She held her breath, and her pulse quickened. He dipped his head, and his lips hovered just inches above hers. Instead of kissing her on the mouth as she had expected, he lifted his chin and laid a protective kiss on her forehead. He pulled her in tight, holding her. A flash of longing rushed through her. She melted into his warm body and let him. She eased into his arms, his embrace. She could feel the toned muscles of his chest and stomach through his thin shirt, relishing in his strength and gentleness. For the first time in months, she felt safe and protected. He kissed her forehead again, and even more softly drew back. I'm going to run out to my bike. I always keep a set of clean clothes in the storage compartment. If you don't mind, I could use a shower. I reek of smoke. She reluctantly pulled back, too, and nodded, unable to make direct eye contact with him, in fear that he could see right through her. She suppressed an urge to reach out to him and said, I'll get the towels and sheets. And then there was a break in the story. I wasn't paying attention. Did the auto cam work as expected? That's good tea. Because I can't tell. I can't even move the screen. Yes, it did. Oh, fantastic. Has someone not made it yet? Oh, okay. Whoever just came in last, Stunt Mama, you poor soul. Okay. Rigged. Well, if you weren't so mean to everybody playing games, maybe you wouldn't come in last. I'm just saying. Ouch. Yeah, well, you know, if the knife fits. Riker couldn't sleep a wink. He just lay there in the dark, staring up at the ceiling. He rolled over, punched his pillow several times, and flopped back down. How was he supposed to sleep with Bree just down the hall? He thought about slipping in next to her, sliding up next to her warm, slender body. He couldn't help noticing those long legs in her skimpy shorts and cotton tee. Alone, there was nothing provocative about her clothing, but on her, he had to stop. He'd never get any rest if he kept picturing her lying in that big bed all alone. He rubbed at his temples, mentally shifting gears, and thought about the fire. He was grateful that he'd stopped to talk to Kilpatrick before he got on his motorcycle and left. They'd been talking about baseball when they'd heard her scream. It had been like a shot to his heart. He'd taken off around the house like a bullet, desperate to get to her. He smiled in the darkness now, thinking of her trying to battle the fire with her garden hose. He would have loved to see her in action if he had the time. There was time now. He marveled at her bravery and determination to save what was hers. Despite all that she'd been through with losing her family and this madman on the loose, she had an inner spark that couldn't be squelched by anything or anyone. Riker tried to imagine how the fire had even started. A spark from the fire pit? Maybe drifting ash? He didn't think it was likely. He'd made sure the fire was out before he'd gone inside. A cigarette or a match thrown overboard by a passing boat? Possible. But it would have been almost an impossible throw to get it land and light that wood on fire. But what got him most was how the flames had zigzagged across the grass as if it was following an invisible line or had a mind of its own. Ooh, I wonder if it spelled out a word or a letter, some kind of interesting message, perhaps? Shot through the heart, and you're to blame. You give love a bad name. Sorry, I couldn't help it. Moving on. And a couple of times... Why are my lights flashing like that? Sorry. I'm suddenly all distracted. That's better. My corner lights were like pulsing, and it was weird. Never seen them do that before. Anywho, and a couple of times as the wind shifted and changed direction, Riker could have sworn he smelled gasoline. But how it had started, if it wasn't one of those things? Was it this crazy man that was stalking her? Was he capable of this? That thought alone scared the shit out of him. He lay on his side and watched as the room slowly lightened around him, a million questions running through his mind. The bay breeze drifted in through the open window, and birds chirped. The morning was here whether he wanted it to be or not. He rolled over and groaned, swung his legs out of bed, and stretched. Coffee, he thought. He needed coffee. He crept down the hall so he wouldn't disturb Bree, but when he saw the door cracked, he couldn't help himself. He peered in. The sun cut along. Oh, my goodness. The puzzle. Well done. Good night, Moon. Good night, chair. Good night, bed. Good night, bear. I missed that book. I read it to my kiddo when he was just a little.
Noise, 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 honk.
Have I mentioned how much of a terrible idea that was? It sounded like a good one at the time. Congrats on the puzzle, folks. Would you... Well, nah, it's 7:15. Probably won't have time for another. But I missed that book. I read it to my kids, then to the grands. It's such a good one. Such a good one. Let's keep going with marbles. Marble. 90 seconds on the clock. The sun cut a long triangle across the room, casting her in an enchanting glow, making her look like an angel. He opened the door a little wider, tempted to wake her with a long, slow kiss. Would she welcome it? Or punch him? He heard the crunch of tires on gravel, signaling someone's arrival. He backed up, turned, and tiptoed downstairs, disappointed he wouldn't get to find out. Okay, Riker's growing on me, but he's got some inner demons. Very much inner demons. There's a seashell on the page, which means there is a break in the story. Bree put Zyla on her leash and led her outside. They visited the spot, and the puppy did her business. Then they walked down to where the three men stood. The sun shone bright and inviting, reflecting off the water. The green grass quickly gave way to scorched grass that had been burned the previous night. Bree stopped at the edge beside them and noticed other officers. Some were in the brush. One was scouring the water's edge, and another was taking photos. Oh, crap. I've totally forgot what voice I gave Detective Savard. I think it was more of a southern voice. "Good morning, Bree," Detective Savard said. "Looks like you had another rough night." "You could say that. I'm surprised to see you here for a fire." The chief called me. He said I'd better come take a look." Bree turned to the older man. "I wanted to thank you and your crew from last night. I don't know what would have happened if you hadn't gotten here so quickly." "All in a day's job, Miss Thompson. Glad we could help." "Did you have any idea how it might have started?" Bree asked the chief. "We were just going over that," he said slowly. "Looks like it started right at the edge of the dock there." He pointed. "What are those spikes sticking out of the ground? And why isn't that grass as burnt as the other areas?" She took a step closer. "Are those pieces of paper stuck in the ground?" "Uh-oh. I think I know what this is," Bree questioned. Riker caught her arm. "Don't. They haven't finished photographing the area." An officer whistled and waved down by the dock. Excuse us a moment," Savard said to Bree, exchanging a look with the chief. They walked into the charred grass toward the offer. Toward the offer? Toward the officer. Toward the offer. Jeez. "Riker, what's going on?" "Those stakes," he pointed. "They're holding down photos." He turned, looked at her, and lowered his voice. "Of you." "Me? I don't understand." "They think it's some sort of warning. From what I gather, the fire was set and connected by a chemical, deliberately going wide in those areas, leaving the photos almost untouched." "What?" Without warning, Bree marched across the burnt ground and stopped at the first stake. "Bree, you can look, but don't touch anything," Detective Savard called over to her. Bree nodded, handed Zyla to Riker, and squatted down. Yeah, I think I did that right. Okay. She gasped as she saw the first photo. It was an 8x10, slightly melted from the intense heat of the fire, but intact. It was her in the studio, sitting at her computer. There was another a few feet away of her pulling weeds, her back to the camera. Bree went to another photo, an eerie feeling creeping slowly through her. This photo was of her and Zyla. They had to have been yesterday, she concluded. She moved carefully to the next one. The bot doesn't approve of your rigged command. Ah, bummer. Bree, you don't need to look at these right now, Riker said, standing beside her with a wiggling puppy. I'm fine. She looked down. This one was of her asleep in her Adirondack chair. It had words scrawled on it. I'm watching. A shiver ran down her spine. She stepped back. She steeled herself and forced herself to go look at the last one. Her stomach turned. It was a photo of her in her bra and underwear, walking across the kitchen, carrying a laundry basket. Scrawled at the bottom was, "Always." Why is the command not working? The command I set up isn't commanding. That's very weird. She stepped back, sick to her stomach. "Are you okay?" Riker asked. "I'm fine. I need a minute." She grabbed the puppy and hurried back to the house. Inside, she let Zyla down. Her hands trembled as she poured puppy food into Zyla's bowl. She put it down and then leaned over the sink, shaking, afraid she was going to be sick. What was she going to do? Who was doing this, and what did they want? She needed to think. She could figure this out. Needed to. Had to. "I gotta take off. All right, Kay, have a great night. Thank you for being here." It's technology working as exactly it's supposed to. Badly. Sure feels like that. Yerp. I push the button. The button doesn't do anything. Nothing. Riker let himself in the slider. "Bree?" he asked tentatively. "Are you all right?" "You're 0 for 2, Red?" She nodded, turned, and got out the coffee. "Would you like a cup?" she asked, trying to keep her hands from shaking and her voice even. She didn't want him to see her frightened. "I could use one." He crossed over to her. He laid his hands on her shoulders. She stiffened. "That's 'cause, dude, she's freaking out, man. Of course she's gonna stiffen when you touch her." Join. Start. Okay, now the button works. Whatever. "Let me help." She sidestepped him. "No. I need to do it. I need to do something." "Okay," he said and backed off. The coffee was coming out in a steady stream when Detective Savard came to the back door, plastic bags in one hand. "Knock, knock," he called. "Bree, can I come in?" "Of course." Zyla scampered across the floor and yipped at him. He bent and rubbed her ears. "Cute puppy. Just get her?" "Yes," Bree said with a hint of a smile. "A gift from Riker." "Coffee, Detective?" "Yes, please." He petted the pup and waited until Bree poured him a cup and brought it over. "I see you have furniture." "My aunt sent some of my things. They arrived yesterday." "Can we sit at the table?" He indicated the dining room. "Certainly." She led the way and took a seat. "Do you mind if I join you?" Riker asked. "It's okay with me as long as Bree doesn't mind." Somewhere along the lines, Riker had wiggled his way into her house, into the investigation, and into her heart. And right now, she didn't care. She hated to admit it, but she really did want him here. "It's fine with me." Savard laid the photos in the bags on the table. "I know this is upsetting, but I need you to look at these and tell me what you see." Bree based herself like a turkey. Bree braced herself to look at them again. Nothing was menacing about them except for the cryptic handwriting on the bottom of 2 photos. Otherwise, it was just her carrying on with everyday life. completely unaware someone was watching her, stalking her. She took a deep breath. Well, they're obviously of me, taken at different times of the day and from far away. This one's my studio, taken through the window. She lifted it and shifted it over. This one is me outside, back by the garage. These other two, outside also, she said, lifting one of her and Zyla, the other in the Adirondack chair. The one that made her pause was the one of her in a bra and underwear. This was the second time he had caught her half naked. Suddenly, she was pissed. She should damn well be able to walk around her own house half naked without wondering if some pervert was watching her. And this one. She tossed it back down, disgusted. It slid across the table and stopped in front of Riker. Is me in the kitchen. Savard watched her and Riker, trying to judge their different reactions to the photographs. Bree had gone from scared to pissed in an instant, and Riker sat back silently watching, a non-committal look on his face. He straightened, reached out, and piled the pictures together. Handing them to Bree, he asked, "Do you think you could put these in chronological order?" Bree shrugged. I guess. This one with Zyla is the newest. Excuse me. That was yesterday. Well, let's put it at the end. Savard slid it over. Zyla? That's an interesting name. How'd you come up with that? I keep losing my place. It's annoying. It was Riker's idea. Really? He scrutinized Riker as he asked, "How did you come up with the name Zyla?" Riker shrugged. She looks like a little princess, but I'm not into Disney. The only other one I know is Princess Zyla from The Black Shadow. The Black Shadow? Savard questioned, then looked at Bree. I know how it sounds. Or wait, that's Bree. I know how it sounds, but in his defense, he doesn't know, and it fits her. They all glanced at the little puppy sprawled out on the rug, chew toy clenched in her teeth, fast asleep. What don't I know? Riker asked. We'll get to that in a minute, Savard said. Back to the pictures. Which one do you think is first? I would say this one. Bree picked up the one of her half naked. Because it doesn't look like I have any curtains or blinds yet. Then I would say the studio. She looked at the others and arranged them in chronological order. Savard nodded his head. That was the order I put them in as well. Why does it matter? Savard held up a finger. Keep them in order and flip them over. She did as he asked. That's when she noticed the words scrawled on the back. Each picture had one or two words scribbled on it. Since she had them in chronological order, they made a short phrase. In the shadow of the black moon. That is significant, folks. That's Riker's and Sam's favorite movie. Which makes me wonder if it's not Riker, could it be Sam? Or maybe it is Riker, and he's just doing really well at hiding it. When did Zarias seep in here undetected? Good evening, Zarias. What's that supposed to mean? Bree asked with a sharp hitch to her voice. Well, I was hoping you could tell me, Savard said. I love that fish emote. It's hilarious. See, the command isn't doing it again. Why? Why don't you do it? What is your problem? Ah. It's so annoying. We're going to follow Cody this time. Doesn't approve of Red rigging the command. Yeah, probably not. Yeah. I was hoping you could tell me, Savard said. I don't have any idea. And what about you, Riker? Any thoughts? Savard asked. No. Should I? Savard didn't answer directly. The Black Shadow, aren't you a big fan? Yeah, Sam and I have seen them all. Who's your favorite character? Riker laughed. Not sure what this has to do with anything. He sat back in his chair and crossed his arms. But what the heck, I'll bite. Theo Knight is my favorite. Not Cage Zion. Nope. That was Sam. Can you see me as a warrior prince? I'm definitely more of a pilot, a smuggler, more of a love 'em and leave 'em kind of guy like Theo. He winked at Bree. Savard nodded and waited for him to go on. Anything else? Riker cocked his head. I already told you my favorite princess is Zyla. Can't get the prince if I'm her brother now, can I? Riker glanced down at as his cell phone chimed. I need to take this if you'll excuse me a minute. Bree waited until they heard Riker go out the door. Where are you going with all this? Do you think Riker is Cage? I don't know, Bree, but I have to check all my facts, look in every direction, and treat everyone as a suspect. He waited for her to say something, but she didn't. Aren't you the one who told me he had a motive? That he wanted this house? The one you own? Yes, but... But what? Go with your instincts, Bree. He waited. Tell me what you're thinking. Fawn. Yes, Purple was very kind and gifted a sub, and you got it. So yeah, woot woot. Well, it's like he said. He doesn't fit the Cage profile. He is more of a Theo Knight. The way he's built, the way he acts, and the way he looks. His boat is named after the Shadow Jumper, Theo Knight's spaceship. Let's suppose he just picked Cage as a decoy, a way to throw us off. Still doesn't change the fact that he loves the Black Shadow, or that he's always around when these, we'll call them crimes for lack of a better term, happen to you. He was here last night. Yes, but he never left. Riker couldn't have done it. He was last to leave and was outside talking to Officer Kilpatrick when the fire started. Riker never had a chance because I was with him all night. Savard knew she was right. Kilpatrick had corroborated the same story earlier. Still, it didn't change the fact that he wanted the house and was a big Black Shadow fan. But according to Riker, Sam Harris was too. He had the same access to the house. Maybe Sam was secretly mad because his friend didn't get the house and was taking it out on Bree. Or maybe Harris wanted it for himself. Savard felt like he was going in circles. The detective's beeper went off just as Riker stepped back into the house. Bree, I have to run. And Riker, I'm going to need your shoes. The center of the fire found a boot print down. My man will be in shortly to get it. Since you spent the night, I'm assuming those are the same shoes you had on last night? Yes, they are. Am I a suspect? Everyone's a suspect until they're not. Savard turned to Bree. Call me if you need anything. Savard let himself out the door. And that concludes a very interesting chapter 27. Very interesting indeed. Didn't I just say could have been Sam as well? I literally just said that. In this book, Sam has been one of those characters where he's there, you notice him, and then he just kind of disappears. Right? He's only ever in the picture when specifically needed, like to do work on the house or to hang out or whatever. He's mentioned from time to time, but he's not like up in Bree's life like Riker is. So it could be very fitting if Sam were the guy, the stalker. But who knows? I can't tell if this is just a ruse to get us to think of something else, or if we're actually onto something. I don't know. Either way, chapter 28 is next. This will be our last chapter for tonight. Normally I wouldn't even start it, but gosh darn it, I want to know more. And we still have races to do. So, chapter 28, page 224. Let's do it. Bree placed her hands on either side of the motorcycle and laced her fingers through the little metal bars on the side of the seat. Riker took his time and drove slowly along Ocean Gateway, crossing the Harry W. Kelly Memorial Bridge into Ocean City. The streets were full of cars and people as tourists descended in anticipation of the upcoming Memorial Day weekend. He turned right at Entry Park, drove south down Philadelphia Avenue, curved around First Street, and pulled into Inlet Park. They saw a few old men fishing off the inlet jetty, families unloading strollers, and teenagers talking as they leaned against cars. Riker parked the bike. He cut the engine as a group of guys hanging near a truck yelled his name. He gave a nod and kicked the stand into place. The ocean air caressed Bree's skin as she swung her leg off the motorcycle. She needed to get out, away from the house. Even though she had hesitated when Riker suggested it, she was already glad he had talked her into coming. She needed to be around people. Chew! What up? I love it when there's a group of guys hanging near. Sorry, just arrived? No worries. I haven't tried the mod yet for the VR for the ATS game. I do intend on looking at it at some point. I just haven't really had a chance yet. But this week, I hope to do it. They walked through the parking lot towards the boardwalk. People called out and waved to Riker. Bree noticed a lot of women turned to watch Riker walk by. Strutting his stuff. Lucy. Really? Okay. I was about to say Lucius, No. Oh, crazy itch on my shoulder. Sounds good to me. I hope it's seamless for you. Yeah, me too. Thank you again for sending that over. I'm very eager to give it a whirl. Luscious scents like French fries and fudge drifted toward her as they walked the boardwalk. They passed the rides, carnival games, and a sideshow. People sat on benches eating ice cream, popcorn, or large slices of pizza. Bree's mouth watered. What's your favorite thing to eat at the boardwalk? Bree asked Riker as they strolled down the concrete walk. Probably pizza if I want actual food. Otherwise, I like to get taffy. Taffy? He nodded. Saltwater taffy. He reached for her hand and pulled her past a few t-shirt and souvenir shops. Here, he pointed. There was a small, brightly colored storefront with huge glass cases filled with taffy.
Ah, chew.
Bless you. Me, bless me. Blessings. Did I not click start? My bad. Off we go. There was a small, brightly colored storefront with huge glass cases filled with taffy that looked like large pieces of confetti piled behind the glass. Decorative paper bags and buckets were filled with specific kinds of taffy or an assorted mix ready for purchase. Long, silver metal beaters churned behind the counter and stretched pink and blue taffy in large drums. God, I love taffy. Like, just, so good. I hadn't heard of saltwater taffy, but my high school boyfriend would always bring some back from family vacations to Wildwood, New Jersey, along with a tan that turned him basically bronze. I just burn. Yeah. Sad. Never had good taffy. Well, that's because you're in Canada. Want some? He asked. She nodded. He pulled out his wallet and purchased a mixed bag. He thanked the cashier, who smiled up at him sweetly, and turned to Bree. Try one. She pulled out a yellow one, unwrapped it, and popped it in her mouth. Oh, yum. It's banana. Good, right? He put a pink one in his mouth and chewed. I loved the banana-flavored ones, too. It was shocking because he was Irish, pale, so when he returned, I was floored. Yeah. Same, too Irish for a tan. It sucks. Like, yeah. Like, I just want to know what it's like. Bree nodded, reaching for a white one with the red stripe. I could eat the whole bag. He laughed. How about we get some real food? I could eat. We could grab a slice of pizza or a hot dog. What do you think? Pizza's good. Riker handed her the paper bag of taffy. Hold that, and I'll get the pizza. Do you want a soda? I'll split one with you. Riker ordered 2 slices and a soda. He handed the soda to Bree as a couple of women called his name. He waved. They carried the pizza over to the concrete wall bordering the boardwalk's edge, looking for a place to sit. Man, everyone in town knows this guy. Especially the ladies. Banana's the best flavor? It is. I have a natural tan all the time. My South American blood. Every time I see you on stream, Super, you look as pale as me. Unless it's just your camera messing with you. Maybe there's some maps that I can't do the camera follow thing because it works with some and not others. I don't get it. That's because I have a giant bright light in my face. Well, yeah, that's the thing. Fair enough. They wandered down until the concrete turned to wooden boards and found an opening big enough for both of them. They sat, their legs hanging over the side, facing the Atlantic. Bree inserted 2 straws into the tiny hole on top of the soda and placed it between them and asked, "Do you know everyone?" Riker handed her a slice and took a gooey bite of his, savoring it. "Not everyone. It seems like you do, especially the women. I think you've turned every woman's head and melted every young girl's heart that we passed." He laughed his deep, sexy laugh. Not quite. Sitting here amongst a crowd, Bree relaxed and was able to enjoy sitting next to a sexy man that others couldn't keep their eyes off of. Was he conscious of his natural magnetism? Did he realize people were irresistibly drawn to him, turning to catch his gaze, hoping for even the slightest acknowledgement? She doubted he knew the real power he held, which, in Bree's eyes, made him all the more attractive. "So," he said, drawing out the word, "do you want to talk about what's been happening? Maybe fill me in on what I've missed?" Bree didn't answer. She just took another bite and stared out at the ocean. Riker cleared his throat and... It won't even let me follow. Oh, there we go. That was weird. She just took another bite and stared out at the ocean. Riker cleared his throat and tried again. "I got the feeling Savard considers me a suspect." He waited for a beat. "Do you?" "My experience with most guys that are good looking? No, he's in a bubble and has no idea how much his good looks warps the world in his favor." It's quite possible. And yet, every, I say good looking in, air quotes here, every good looking female knows all too well the impact. I'm good looking, but my bubble is in my midsection. I feel that, Red. I feel that very much. That dad bod, the dad bod. Bree turned to face him and said bluntly, "I have." "Why?" Riker asked, the surprise evident in his voice. "What have I done to make you think I would be the one behind this?" It was now or never. Bree decided to confront him point blank. But first, she wanted to get away from the crowd. She glanced around. "I think we should walk. Go down by the water where it's more private." He agreed, finished the last pizza, took a drink, and handed the soda back to Bree. He jumped down off the wall, landing in the sand, then turned and helped her down. After the soda was finished, they tossed the cup and the rest of their trash into the receptacle. "Have to take off, thank you." "Oh, good night, Mel. Take care. We'll see you next time." Thank you for being here. That's our author, everybody, by the way. She wrote this book. She's written others too. Exclamation Moon will give you a link so you can find out for yourself. Yep, see, this one won't let me do it either. Really weird. What's the point of having that function if you can't use it. So dumb. Rexter! What's up, my guy? They walked in silence to the water's edge. Slipping off their shoes, they strolled down the wet sand for a while, not saying anything as the waves rushed in and out, pulling the sand from beneath their feet. Okay, I can't take it any longer. Riker reached for her arm and gently turned her toward him. Let's have it. She took a deep breath, looking up into those blue eyes, and asked, "Is it true you started the rumor that my house is haunted?" "Yes," he answered truthfully. She looked at him thoughtfully. "You admitted you wanted my house. That could be considered a motive. Add in the ghost. Wanting a house is a far cry from stalking you and trying to burn the place to the ground." She shrugged and mentally changed directions. "I was told the Hennings wouldn't sell to you. Why?" Hello, I apologize. I was lurking, finishing up a program. No worries. In the language of Supers people, drive safe. Watch out for deer. Also, my people, frankly, in New Jersey, there are so many deer. I've got a lot of deer that live pretty close to where I am, too. It's not too often that I go without seeing them, actually. It's like I'm just waiting for an insurance issue. I dated their daughter. That's it? When he didn't elaborate, she added, "There has to be more to it than that." This time, he shrugged. "I was just some misunderstood, dark and dangerous teenage boy that their precious only daughter got caught up with." Bree raised both eyebrows, questioning him. "It's more innocent than it's been made out to be. The pastor caught us making out in my car in the church parking lot. Her parents were humiliated. They forbid us to see each other again." He smiled at the memory. "But as I'm sure you're aware, when teenagers are forbidden from doing something, it only makes them want it more. We started sneaking around. She started climbing out her bedroom window to meet me. One thing led to another. The next time we got caught, we were, let's say the minister saw a lot more than he bargained for. When the founders of Cannegar got together to name the country, they first chose the letters. They said, we a C, a D, and an N-A. He grinned. Bree tried not to smile. She could picture Riker as the bad boy, the rebellious teenager, all too well. She mentally shifted back to the present and assessed the situation. You couldn't buy the house from the Hennings, but no one could stop you from buying from the next owner. And lucky for you, the next owner was a single woman you could either manipulate or scare into selling. She watched him struggle to keep his face neutral. She straightened and placed a hand on her hip. Don't pretend the thought didn't cross your mind. Riker cocked his head and gazed down at her. I'd be lying if I said it didn't. But I hope you know me well enough by now to know I wouldn't stoop to breaking into your house and destroying your property or watching you and taking photos of you half naked. Believe me when I say that if I want to see you naked, I'll do it without the aid of a camera. And you will be fully aware of my intentions. He looked at her so intently that Bree couldn't help but blush. Stupid button. Why you break? I don't get it. I don't get it. But what he's doing, these stalking or peeping Tom tendencies, whatever you want to call it, seeing those photos of you today disturbed me. You were completely unaware of being photographed. That's a total pervert in my book. Whoever did that is plain sick. A shiver ran up Bree's spine. I agree with that statement. Then there's the fire last night. That's some serious shit, Bree. He looked at her intently. You can't possibly think I did that. She looked away from those intense eyes and out to the ocean, watching the waves roll, contemplating. No, I don't, actually. She looked back at him. That's what turned the tide for me. There's no possible way you would have had time to do that because I was with you the entire time. But... Her voice trailed off. Ah, crap, we have an ad starting in 30 seconds. I forgot. I keep forgetting to check for the ads. Gosh darn it. I put 5 bits on Rexter's marble. That's funny. Know who says you can't possibly think I did that? Someone who totally do that? Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. We'll keep reading when the ads are over. Who says it's one person, though? Maybe it was Sam and... Ooh, Mad Locust coming in with the ulterior plan. I didn't even think that it could have been more than one person. Tag teaming the whole thing. They both like the movie. They both have reason. But at the same time, we have to remember what was said at the very beginning of the book. The very beginning of the story was kind of a, call it a journal entry or whatever, name it whatever you want, but it was of a guy that was like, you know, you ruined my life, you took everything from me, you know, I'm gonna get you, blah, blah, blah. And it was almost like he was psyching himself up kind of thing. So from that perspective, it's told from one person's viewpoint. So unless it changed up and then like Sam got involved or Riker got involved, you know, like Riker helping Sam, Sam helping Riker, whichever. But then you also have to think about the fact that at least in the book, and unfortunately Mel's not here to help us with this, but in the story, it was like she moved after a breakup, after the whole family incident, stuff like that. And then it was like, I'm gonna get you. Not, oh, I just met Sam and Riker, and then you find out that someone's gonna get her. Like, this was all before she even, like, moved in. So that part, that's what makes it so interesting and, like, hard to decipher because of the... Yeah. I don't know. It's weird. Weird in a good way, though. Oh, good job, Dry. All right, what are we on? 12 out of 16, so now 13. This should be number 13. Dethroning from his throne. All right, here we go. Thank you for the 5 bits, Dry. You're very kind. All right. Okay, she's like, I was with you the entire time, but her voice trailed off. But what? If you're not doing it, it seems like someone is trying to make it look like you are. He scrubbed his hands over his face. This is disturbing on so many levels. I need to sit down. Where? He pointed. The lifeguard chair. It's big enough for both of us and has a great view. They walked in silence, left their shoes at the bottom, climbed up the wooden rungs, and sat. No matter how Bree shifted, she couldn't create space between them. The heat radiated out from him, making it hard for her to focus. All too aware of Riker, Bree fidgeted nervously. She opened the taffy bag and dug through it to give herself something to do other than think about how close she was to him. Uh-oh, B12's in here. I'll bet 5 on Dry being in the top 3. Tell me, what else points to me, besides wanting to buy the house? What has given you a reason to think I might be behind it? She unwrapped a green piece and popped it in her mouth, giving herself a minute. She swallowed hard. Did she trust him? The answer was yes, despite the evidence. First, you have access to the house. It would make it easy for you to come in any time you wanted and move stuff around. For example, my silverware or the coffee. Do you think I would do that petty stuff? I'm not saying you would, but you have access, is what I'm saying. She shifted sideways, tucked her leg under her, and looked directly at him. I'm not the only one with access. Sam had a key. And what about the real estate office? They could have keys. That's a good point. We'll have to revisit that thought, but you're the only one with a motive right now. She placed a hand on his arm, seeing him tense. Just listen. He shifted too, held her gaze. I'll try, but it's not easy to sit here and feel like you think I'm some psycho or pervert. I know. I'm sorry. She hesitated, not sure how to soothe him. Try to be objective and listen to how incriminating it all sounds. Try to look at it from my point of view. He grunted, clearly put off. She held out her fingers and ticked off points. First, my water heater is shut off. You were the last one down there the day before. Second, I got locked in the attic stairwell because I got up and checked on a noise, which turns out to be the banging door. Again, you were the last one up there. Next, I get locked outside my own house. You were the last to leave that day. Bree paused, watching him process it. You're right. I didn't realize all that. It does make me look bad. Bree nodded. A little softer, she said. Add in the ghost story and the black shadow thing? Wait. He cocked a dark eyebrow. What about the black shadow? I've been getting threatening emails from someone named Cage, with a K. And you're into the black shadow. You're kidding, right? I wish I were. And now that I think about it, that's how it started. What did the emails say? At first, the messages were about my work, trickling in through my website. He criticized me, claiming I was a terrible photographer, but then they grew darker. He started saying he was watching me, and eventually accused me of stealing something from him. He specifically said, "You took what was mine," in an email, and that's also what he carved into my floor. I assumed once I found out that you wanted the house, that's what Cage was referring to. Riker leaned forward and tucked a wisp of her long brown hair behind her ear. Let's take the house out of it for a moment. Assume it has nothing to do with it. What else could it possibly be that you might have taken from someone, man or woman? Oh, Super taking the win again. Well, that's just it. I don't have anything else. Does Savard have any ideas? Yeah, this map won't do the fancy camera thing either. God, that scared the shit out of me. Thank you, Super. Be still, my beating heart. Man, Super must be slipping the dev something under the table. Could be. I almost said something really inappropriate. I'm going to keep that and throw it over there. Bree shrugged. He asked about my family's will, but... Aw, Purple. Stop it. Thank you for the 100 bits. You guys, calm down, okay? Just calm down. Enjoy the Grand Prix, the story, but calm down, all right? Calm down. Never? Well, I can't technically stop you, so... You do you, girl. He asked about my family's will, but that's a dead end. Everything my parents had was left to me and my sister. And my sister... Bree's voice hitched. Riker put his hand on top of hers. It's all right. Don't say it. There's no one else that stands to inherit. No. There has to be something else. Something we're missing. Something you either don't know you have or that's not of much significance to you, but is to him. Ooh, that's a cool one. A marble emote? Nice. If you don't have any of the blue points, I think you have to pay money. Oh, God. I've created a sports betting stream. Okay. What do you think this last message means? You're a Black Shadow fan. Does a black moon mean anything to you? Not really. The only thing I can think of related to the Black Shadow is that there were Black Moon warriors. Riker reached for his phone. He Googled Black Moon and the Black Shadow. Bree leaned in close to see. Here. It looks like Cage Zion was the Grand Master of the regiment. I don't remember that in the movies. It only referred to that in comic books, but there was a Black Moon emblem on all their uniforms. Ooh, chew on that one. Yeah, it's like it's like some maps allow it and some don't. I really don't understand. Join? Yeah, see, this one isn't doing it either. We shall watch Super. Let's see how super he does. Of course, I bet on someone else. I'll use my winnings to pay my due. You guys don't have to pay anything. It's a free game. Let's go, Bucks. Thank you, Chew. You guys are silly. Okay? But there was a Black Moon emblem on all their uniforms. Oh, we're back to square one. They fell silent for a moment, thinking. and the world around them slowly came back into focus. As they talked, the sun had sunk behind them, casting long shadows across the cooling sand. Off in the distance, lights winked on all around the boardwalk. The Ferris wheel spun in a slow, enchanting circle of neon lights.
Trogdor was a man, he was a dragon man. Or maybe he was just a dragon, but he was still Trogdor.
I don't know who that is. Should I? Donna knows. People screamed as a slingshot catapulted them into the night sky. The long cables stretched taut, plummeting them back down to the ground. The air was growing chilly, and Bree shivered. "Come here," Riker said, pulling her close and slipping his arm around her. His body heat engulfed her as she relaxed into him. His voice was deep, but softer. "I'm sorry this is happening to you, Bree. I truly am. You don't deserve this. I hope you know I would never do anything like this to hurt." He kissed the top of her head, and she fell a little further for him. The moon was up, bright and hanging low over the Atlantic. The pale moonlight shimmered across the darkening water. Bree melted into Riker, laying her head on his shoulder, drawing in the scent of his aftershave. It was a deep, musky scent, dark and seductive like the man. She felt as if she could stay next to him forever. But she shouldn't. She scolded herself. She needed to keep her distance just in case. In case he was somehow tied to what was happening, and he really was the playboy she suspected. She still didn't have an answer to the whole Sherry question either. Were they or weren't they a couple? What if it was indeed only one-sided? Sitting here with him now, she felt like it was. Prayed it was. She was already headed down the road to heartbreak if it wasn't. Straightening, she said, "We should go home. Zyla will need to go out soon." I have a Lovecraftian first-person shooter game, and it's full of little Easter eggs. One of them is drawing of Trogdor on the back of a mausoleum. Yeah, well then. You're probably right. It'll take a little while to get back to the bike. I didn't realize we walked this far. He climbed down, placed his hands on her waist, helped her, and then smiled mischievously. "You're not gonna punch me, are you?" "No, why would I?" "Because the last time we were near a lifeguard stand, you did." "Last time you gave me a reason to. Are you going to this time?" He cocked his head to one side and gave her that heartbreaking smile. "No, champ. I learned my lesson." His hands were still low on her waist, and his eyes flicked down to her lips and lingered. When they returned to lock with hers, they were dark with desire. A vision of them on the sand, wrapped in each other's arms, ran through her mind. With great effort, she stepped back. His hands dropped to his sides. "We should go." He didn't say anything. He just stuffed his hands in his pockets and nodded. She bent and picked up her shoes, and they started back. Oh. I won that one. I do believe this is the last race, so good luck, everybody. May the marbles forever be in your favor. God. Dry says, "Dang it." Thank you, something. I introduced a young 20-something at work to Strong Bad. It was a hit. He still mentions big, beefy arms to me. Thank you for the bits, Dry. We have a small break, or a break in the story, and then two and a bit pages, and this chapter will be done. Rexter, 5 bits and I raise you 1. Rexter, thank you for the bits. He sat on the edge of his chair and dug through the cardboard box. Of course, the one he wanted was at the bottom. Wasn't that always the way? He took them out individually and lined them up on the windowsill, placing each action figure. He had them all. Okay, so I'm assuming that what we're reading right now is from the Stalker guy. I think. There's no mention of it switching over to that, but that's what my gut's telling me. He had them all, warriors and side characters. He placed Theo Knight on the sill and directly in the center next to him. The one he'd been looking for, Cage. He held him up and examined him from every angle. Cage Zion. The chosen one. The good guy. The hero. Super! Thank you for the 10 bits. But he had an evil side to him too that tugged at him. Just like his father, who'd once been good and decent until he met a beautiful woman. Okay, you guys. Thank you, Purple. Please calm down. I told a friend about it way back. She decided just to Google foamy. It went badly. Oh my. Okay, really? Cody. Thank you for the 100 bits. Just try to read a book. A woman who had corrupted him and turned him against his family. He pulled out a photograph he had taken of Bree and examined it. Bree Thompson was that kind of woman.
Noise. Honk.
Thank you, Purple. Bree Thompson was that kind of a woman. She had big, kind eyes,
Everyone keep calm and hold on to your bits.
There you go. Solid advice. Couldn't have said it even if I wanted to. She had big, kind eyes, long golden hair, and a tender heart. He had to shake himself physically to keep from falling for her. She was just a woman after all. The woman who had changed everything. And that was what happened to his father, too. He'd been a decent guy, even though his mother never talked about him much, or let him see him. He had sent gifts religiously for his birthday and Christmas. He would call on Easter and Thanksgiving and send chocolate on Valentine's Day. On his 8th birthday, his father called and asked if he could come to take him out for lunch and maybe catch the new Black Shadow movie that was out. Surprisingly, his mother had said yes. From then on, they bonded over Black Shadow. It was their thing, something his mother didn't understand as she had never seen a movie or read the comics. It became so important to them that his father even devised a CB handle of Shadow Man. This fit perfectly because his dad drove a black semi and drove the night shift. Joking, he only drove by the light of the moon, which was the Black Shadow symbol. And he was his Cage Zion, the prince of the Black Shadow. But almost a year ago, that fateful day on the highway changed everything. He lifted the picture of Bree and scrutinized it. He thought about how naive she was, how she walked around the house half naked like she didn't have a care in the world. Didn't she sense him watching? She did now. He smiled at that thought, then frowned. Why couldn't Bree Thompson have been in the minivan with the rest of her family? Why couldn't she have died like the rest of them? If she had, his father would have never met her. He would have never held Bree back from the fire and felt sorry for her or wept for her family. She would have perished in flames with the rest of them. And then, maybe, his father would still be alive. He tossed her picture to the side and twirled Cage Zion in the palm of his hand. Like Cage, he could feel the dark power inside him. Only unlike Cage, he would let it consume him. He couldn't resist. He held the prince up into the light of the moon. The moon was shining its pale, luminous light through the window. He looked at it and smiled. Would she get his clue? Would she figure it out in time? Did she realize she only had days left to live? 5 days. That wasn't much time. Oh, have me talk like Korg? Hey, we're gonna read this book. Wanna come? He had a lot to do, a lot to plan. He didn't have all the details ironed out yet, but it was forming in the back of his mind.
Slept is a window to my soul. Come and get it.
Oh my God. I'm reporting this casino. These races are rigged. Thank you for starting a hype train, you bunch of kind people. I keep a few biddies on hand to help start trains. Well, aren't you just a saint? But seriously, everyone sit on your fingers. It wouldn't really be like the Black Shadow. Cody, thank you for the 150 bits. Even though we wanted it to be. But he would do his best. Wanna come? The loss of his father had changed Cage, and so had he. He pulled out a small handgun from the box under his bed, the gun his father had left him. The circle of life would be complete when it snuffed out the enemy. He stared down the short barrel of the gun and aimed it at the photo of Bree Thompson. Once the enemy was vanquished, then all would be right with the world. And that concludes chapter 28. All right. Let's see the final results of the Grand Prix. Brace yourselves. In third place, we have Dry. Congratulations, Dry, for coming in third. Well done. In second place, Super. Super SB, second place. But who took first place? Let's find out. Oh, my gosh. Stop it. Thank you so much. I couldn't be here without my sponsors. I don't have any sponsors. Thank you all. Holy crap. 206 points. And then Super had 143. Jeez. Dang. That's so weird. Well, there you go. All right, folks. That brings us to the end of our lovely evening. Red Thorn wants to throw down with the Bookfather. Red Thorn wins. Well, at least you got that command to work. All right. Those were an interesting few chapters. We now know that the person that is stalking Bree is connected via the car crash that her family was in. But she hasn't made that connection yet. And quite frankly, neither had I. So So I'm glad that our little stalker talked about it. So yeah, it's going to be interesting now to see where this goes. It's still not clear if like someone like Sam or, whatever is involved, or if it's just pure luck that they also happen to like this movie, I don't know. Could be a sheer coincidence. Lots of people like movies. It's a thing. Wow, you guys have been following for a long ass time. That's a lot of followage. Thank you for all of that followage as well. You have my gratitude, sincerely. Okay, folks. It has been a wonderful stream. I'm guessing we like the addition of marbles, yes? Should we keep it around? Granted, it's only going to be for nights that we read. So Sundays and Tuesdays. Because on Thursdays, I'll be doing the multi-screen American Truck Sim, which is going to be great. Marbles is good. I hate the honk, though. Yeah, the honk is a disturbing jump scare. And I created it, so that was, whoops. Good thing there's a cooldown. That's one more way to give friends crap. Yeah. Did the third screen fit? Yes. I've got 3 27-inch monitors on my desk, and I already tested it with American Truck Sim, and it worked great. So yeah, looking forward to that on Thursday, but Tuesday, more book, more reading. All right, let's see who we can go say hello to. You know what? Night Marcher was in here earlier. He even did a race. He's streaming himself right now. He's doing unwritten roleplay in Grand Theft Auto. When I get a job, a third monitor and steering wheel are on my list. Get it, super. And then you can maybe figure out the whole multi-screen streaming thing, or game thing. Please copy this raid message. Doesn't matter if you're subbed or not. It is for everyone. And then let's go raid my buddy, Mr. Marcher. Nice guy. Wonderful fellow.
Red leather, yellow leather toy, boat, toy, boat, toy, boat.
I struggled with that one, apparently. It's been wonderful to have you here. Thank you for the gifted subs and the bits and just having fun in chat and talking to each other and engaging with the story. I really, really appreciate it. And yes, make sure you go buy yourself an Irish wristwatch. An Irish wristwatch. Man, that's so difficult to say. Wish me luck for tomorrow night when I do my live recording for the audio drama that I was hired for. And we will see you on Tuesday. Have a great start to your week. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And have an amazing night.